In this video, I'm going to show you a pretty crazy, in my opinion, mirror match between two Labyrinth decks, mine which is a custom version and the opponent's which was the loner. This was a diamond duel in the Monster Type Festival, but it was pretty intense, so let's go ahead and take a look at how this match shaped up. So for those of you wondering, the deck list that I'm using here is linked in the description. It's pretty much the same. There might be like one card difference from it, but it is a very effective version. In this matchup, we are going second, which usually means an auto loss in the mirror match, but we do have evenly match and we do have Duster. However, this opponent knows what they're doing. They start off with the Chandelier, pitching the Backjack, so they've rearranged the card on top of their deck. They've got two traps and a lady. So they haven't committed a whole lot, but we're going to obviously start off with the Extravagance because you have to use it at the start of main phase 1. The opponent, I was really surprised. I'm like, okay, sure, use your Backjack, set a card. That's just more materials for me to Duster or evenly away. But smartly, they knew that they were going to mill the Coup Clock, obviously, and the Coup Clock will be able to come back to their hand with the furniture cards. So we go battle phase evenly matched, and look at how the opponent is able to play around this here. So they're going to end up chaining, of course, Lady, because the trap card's activated, chain Big Welcome, chain Compulse. So the chain link resolves, Compulse bounces back Lady, brings out Stovey Torby, which gets bounced back with the Big Welcome, and then Lady resolves, setting Welcome. They end up banishing the Compulse and the Big Welcome face down. Now this is still significant because it gets one Big Welcome out of rotation, and that's good for us. The opponent is now going to be able to trigger the Chandelier to come back to hand, and their resource game is looking pretty impressive. We know that they have Lady, Chandelier, and Stovey Torby, and a mystery card, and then they have a Welcome Labyrinth face down. They've got Coup Clock in the grave that they're going to be able to bring back as soon as one of these furniture cards are activated. So you might think, okay, well, Quantum, you just outed their whole board, you're in a really good spot. Not necessarily. Because of the nature of the trap cards, whoever has the priority to activate them first is ahead. So even though I have card advantage, technically, I'm actually behind, because they're going to be able to activate this Welcome Labyrinth once they bring Coup Clock back to hand, and they're going to be able to set up a board to go during their turn and break my board easily, right? So we're going to go ahead and pitch the second evenly, which might be a mistake, but at this point I was like, I have the Duster, so I'm not feeling too bad. So we set 2 and then go end phase. The opponent brings out the Silver Castle again. They activate their furniture, which means they're going to get the set field spell now and bring the Coup Clock back to hand. And then again, this is all in the end phase. They're going to be able to activate Coup Clock here and activate this Welcome Labyrinth, which again is just going to give them additional utility. They get Ariana. Ariana is going to go ahead and grab another big Welcome here. And then now they have a good follow-up for our turn, right? Because at this point, yeah, look at this. They even have another Coup Clock, which is devastating. I don't know if they drew that for turn, but that's going to make this Big Welcome live, and they're going to be able to chain a bunch of effects, right? So I have to be very careful here. Upon activation of the field spell, I know that if they set that Big Welcome and activate it, they're going to pop one of my cards on the field here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and chain my Welcome Labyrinth, which triggers their Lady to chain, which is going to prompt me to chain my Infinite Impermanence, so I can negate Lady, which is going to prompt them to chain the Chandelier in order to discard that Big Welcome. So look at how I forced this out. This is 2 Big Welcomes used now, right? And 1 Welcome, but this card is resettable. They actually pitched the Big Welcome and then used the Big Welcome because it was pitched for cost. They can chain it on the same chain link. That's crazy, eh? And they're going to end up bouncing their Lady. This is how much they valued the set from the deck. Because the chain link will resolve with the Big Welcome resolving first, the Lady will be off the field dodging the Imperm. So that's why the opponent did it. In my opinion, I probably would not have done it this way, but you'll see what happens, why this was a smart play by the opponent. So things are going to resolve. Big Welcome bounces Lady back to hand. They set Welcome Labyrinth. Again, they've activated Coup Clock already, so this card is live. And because of field spell, this card will pop my last remaining card here. Infinite Impermanence fizzles. Lady Labyrinth will set a card as well in the Archfiend Ghastly Glitch. Okay, and then my Welcome Labyrinth brings out an Ariana, and then their field spell is now activated. Okay, because a monster was returned, their Ariana is going to be able to draw, and they're going to be able to reset their Welcome Labyrinth, get their furniture back as well. And then once they activate furniture, well, they don't even need to because Ariana is activated. I believe that also triggers the Coup Clock because it's a Labyrinth card that activates. So they're on Chainlink 5 on resources. They've got all the furniture in rotation. You can see how they're now super ahead because of what happened in the end phase of my turn, because they were able to activate their traps first. That's how this mirror match goes. If you want to win the mirror match, you just have to basically have trap advantage. Like you have to be able to activate your traps ahead of your opponent. Having field spell is a game changer for the grind game. Same with Lovely Labyrinth. Silver is good, but Lovely is actually what wins you the game in the mirror match, and you'll kind of see that as this game progresses. So again, I don't want to have my cards being popped by this Labyrinth, so I'm going to chain my Big Welcome to save my Ariana. So Chain Link's going to resolve on Chain Link 8. Big Welcome brings out the Ku Klok, bounces back Ariana. Their Welcome Labyrinth brings out their Lovely now, so they're setting up the grind game. They have infinite advantage with this card. As expected, Labyrinth pops the Ku Klok, which is why I used it, because I plan to use Stovey Torby. We get the Big Welcome, and then, yeah, the opponent's going to be able to recur all of their resources here. And then they bring out Silver Castle. Lovely effect to set again. We're going to change Chandelier to come back to hand. Okay, they Lovely pops the Stovey. Sorry, now their Lovely effect to set, and they reset Welcome. So you can see, like, this Welcome Labyrinth card is going to continuously pop my cards because of Welcome Labyrinth. But again, I do have the Duster. Another difference between the loner and my version. I have Duster, I have Evenly, I have cards to break boards. They don't necessarily. But again, if you go first with Labyrinth with this loner, you're probably still winning anyways, to be honest. Now, on board here, this is not lethal, but they could have used their extra deck to go into like Nightmare Cerberus or Nightmare Phoenix off of like Ku Klok and Stovey to be lethal. However, I think, I haven't used Ku Klok because they popped this, right? So if they attempted to do that, I could go Chandelier, set a card from the deck, but I think, I used both Welcome and Big Welcome this turn already, right? So I actually was at threat to be OTK'd, but the opponent knows I have a Chandelier, and they know I have a Ku Klok. So this is probably why they didn't do this, is because they think that, oh, he can just pitch Chandelier, get a Labyrinth card, get Ku Klok back to hand, pitch Ku Klok, activate that Labyrinth card, and protect themselves. So it's not worth me trying to overcommit and go for game. These resources are more valuable on board. But the opponent probably forgot that I actually used both the Welcome cards already this turn. So he just goes for this damage, which is 7,500. I'm down to 500 life points, but look at this, look at the difference, right? It's insane. We top deck Extravagance, again, another card that is in the custom version, not in the loner. And again, this card is just free card advantage. The opponent is going to activate some effects in the draw phase to gather up some advantage. Yep, they're going to get Ku Klok and Furniture and setting cards. So all of these cards are live. We're going to start with the pot of Extravagance, and we draw into Ariana and Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch. We're then going to Duster the back row, forcing out the opponent's cards here. And at this point, if we take a look at where things are at, I believe they've used up, yeah, Big Welcome number 1. Well, number 1 was banished, right? Face down. Big Welcome number 2 is banished, and this is Big Welcome number 3. This is all of their Big Welcomes used, and if they banish this one, they can't recur it anymore with Lovely Labyrinth. They have no more Big Welcomes to recur. So this is super critical at this point. I get rid of Field Spell, which is also really important, but because of the way that they triggered their effects, they're going to be able to bring out the Ariane, which is a 3 of in the loner, and usually a terrible card. This is literally the only situation where it might be useful, because by bringing this card out, if we take a look at the log, they're able to bounce back the Ku Klok that was on the field. So now they have a Ku Klok back in hand, but they've already used Ku Klok, right? So, you know, they're just cycling through Ku Kloks. It doesn't really make a difference if you have 1 or 3 in rotation, right? So at this point, they're going to draw 2 and pop a card in my hand, which is crazy, because if they end up popping, let's say, Big Welcome or Chandelier, I'm in trouble. If they pop an Ariana, I think since I have 2, it's fine. If they pop the Archfiend Ghastly Glitch, it's fine, because this is not a trap I'm going to set and use right away anyways. So let's see what happens here. And they got Backjack, so yeah, they're on Chain Link 6 in terms of advantage, getting all their furniture back. This, you know, furniture is infinite advantage, right? That's why this deck can be crazy. But you do need to understand and manage your resource game. And like I said, Lovely is the card that does that for you. So as soon as you start losing your Lovely, gets banished, or you can't recur it, you're going to run out of resources really quickly in the grind game. So we're going to go ahead and trigger these effects. Backjack sets their Welcome Labyrinth. Now this one, I believe, is their 3rd Welcome, right? Because they've got 2 in grave already. Now this card is resettable from the graveyard, so it's not a huge deal if you can't bring one out from deck, but it does limit the effectiveness of your furniture cards now, right? Because now you can't search out Big Welcome or Welcome Labyrinth, because all of them are in the graveyard or banished at this point. So again, Lovely becomes that resource for the grind game. We are now going to search our Field Spell, and the tables have just switched, because this card in the grind game wins you the match pretty much. So we're going to go ahead and trigger our Chandelier, which is going to set Welcome, which is going to trigger Ku Klok to come back to hand. We activate Ku Klok so we can activate our Welcome Labyrinth, opting to save our Big Welcome here. The opponent is going to chain the Lady to set a trap from deck, but at this point, all you can really set are these Archfiend Ghastly Glitches, because, yeah, the only other thing you have left in your deck at this point, I think, is either like Compulses if you don't have them in hand already, or the Farewell Labyrinth, which is a terrible card. So the Welcome Labyrinth will get the effect to pop because we have Field Spell now, and we're going to pop that Archfiend Ghastly Glitch. Now we're going to get the Lovely off field because, like I said, I recognize that this is the card that could win them the game in the grind game, and the Ariana takes out their Ariane, and then we pass turn with the big Welcome on field. The opponent does have card advantage, and they do have a Welcome Labyrinth set, so they're going to opt to start the turn off by Coup Clocking, normal summon Ariane, Suicide the ladies to get them off field, and this is what I was like, okay, that's actually good for me, because, you know, they're both untargetable and indestructible by card effects because we both have set cards, but the opponent's going to trigger their Welcome Labyrinth, and I'm going to trigger my Welcome Labyrinth. The difference is, again, I have Field Spell. So theirs is going to resolve first. They bring out a Silver Castle from deck. This is their second one. I'm going to bring out Lovely because, again, they don't have a set card. My big Welcome off the Labyrinth Field Spell will pop their Silver Castle. I get the Ariana back to hand, and because a monster left the field, I am now going to be able to trigger all of my card effects. So the tables have kind of switched here. The opponent's going to trigger their Stovey to set, again, the brick. Not a brick, but like, these cards aren't useful, right? At this point, this is what's left in your deck in the grind game. You don't have a Lovely anymore. Like, it's going to be, you know, even though I'm at 500 life points, it's going to be hard for them to fight back because I'm going to out-resource them at this point. So you can see, again, we popped another one in their hand off of the Lovely because I'm not afraid of anything on this field now at this point. I reset my Welcome, which, since I have Field Spell up still, is Infinite Destruction. They have no way to out this because the Loner deck does not play back row removal, except for Archfiend Ghastly Glitch. And if we take a look here, I think the opponent's probably gone through just two of them, so they got one left maybe? Or did we banish one face down? I think we banished a Compulse, right? So maybe they got one left. But yeah, that's, you know, if they set a card, they have to activate it right away off the Coup Clock. Otherwise, we're going to just pop that set card, right? So now at this point, the opponent's kind of out of resources. They're going to be digging into their extra deck. They go into Cerberus because they understand that the Lovely Labyrinth needs to be dealt with. They pitch a Compulse. So again, how useful are these traps at this stage? You need more utility-focused traps, and the Loner version doesn't have it, right? They go into Nightmare Phoenix now, and I'm like, oh, they're going to pop my Field Spell. No, they look at Welcome Labyrinth as the bigger threat, and I'm like, that doesn't do anything because at this point, my Stovey is just going to reset the card. So Stovey pitch Chandelier and reset a Labyrinth card because, again, I haven't gone through my engine as quickly as you have because you overextended too fast in order to try to maintain advantage, but you couldn't do it. So now at this point, you're really behind. So yeah, when you set the big Welcome, the opponent is now going to trigger Lady, and then they actually opt to summon or link off that Lady, which I think is their final Lady at this point. So 2, 3. So they've gone through all their ladies. I think the Loner only plays one Lovely as well, which we probably went through. Yeah, there's the Lovely. They've gone through all their Welcome Labyrinths, all of their Labyrinths. They've got one Archfiend Ghastly Glitch left. Like, yeah, the opponent is literally down to nothing. I think they kind of realize that it's pretty much a wrap. They're going to go into Unicorn, and at this point I'm like, I'm totally fine with you doing whatever because I still have an Ariana in my hand, and Ariana is going to put in the work because whatever Ariana gets is going to be activatable off of Coup Clock. We top deck the Welcome Labyrinth, so I mean, there's nothing the opponent can do. Like, yeah, we still have the resources. Set Big Welcome, activate Big Welcome, bring out Lovely from the graveyard, right? Again, another reason why you probably want to keep one Big Welcome around. Look at this infinite recursion. At this point, yeah, it's a GG. The opponent has no resources left. We have full engine rolling. We have the grind game up, and it's just a matter of one more turn before the opponent loses. They kind of realize it, and they end up scooping it up.